Okay, here we go. Sorry, guys. Took me a second. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. I am... Let me turn that down a little bit. Oh, that's weird. That went way down. Oh, there we go. Hi, it's Thursday, FTG Thursday, and unfortunately, we have the biggest FTG on the screen right now. Yes. Is it that way? I can't remember. Which way did I point my finger? That way? No, it's that way. Yes, her right there. Anyway, so the Daily Beast came out with an article yesterday that talks about this story, and when I saw that the Daily Beast was going to do an article on this a while ago, I thought to myself, it's not just going to be one of those like just the factual articles like, the other people who've been following this doing. I thought, they're going to slant this somehow. I know this is not just going to be a story about this woman. It's funny because I can still call her a young woman because I'm at least almost 20 years old. Well, I'm not 20. I'm older than her. Let's put it that way. I can call her a young woman. But anyway, and I thought, there's something going to be they're going to treat this really different. And they did. And so I want to go through that article today, even though I do have a few other news items, but I got here kind of late, so I don't have a whole lot of other stuff, even though there's so much other stuff in the news. But this might be the last time I talk about this for a while, unless there's some significant new development. But I wanted to go through this Daily Beast article because now look, Yahoo News is now promoting this Eliza Bleu story through this Daily Beast article. So now it's going to get some more mainstream coverage, even though it's the Daily Beast. But I think the Daily Beast is owned by the Washington. Didn't the Washington Post own the Daily Beast? I don't know, something like that. But anyway, that's what we're going to do today. I thought as far as the preview music, this is in honor of Mike Savage. It's very Irish. It's kind of Irish style music, I would say, and I thought it'd be good for today. So anyway, that's what we're gonna do today. It's FTG Thursday on the Morning Night Live. Let's stop this, and how about we play the intro, Johnny?
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Knight.
All right, let's get it started. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Knight on the internet, and welcome back to the P-Dog Knight channel on this, what's today, Thursday? Is today Thursday? No, it's Thursday. Yesterday was hump day. It's Thursday, the 2nd of February, 2023. Welcome to the show. I'm glad you're here. Like I said, yesterday I said I was going to go the day without talking about this, and then I'd say on tomorrow, which is today, I'd be talking about it. And so I am going to spend most of the show talking about it because there's just so much. And it's just so weird. But the question that I posed in the title is part of the equation today. Are we, and when I say we, people to the right of center, for some people, right of Mao is to the far right. But anyway, people on the right, very charitable, or are we gullible? In that we have this tendency to want to give people the benefit of the doubt, to be part of the club, so to speak. So, for example, very early on, I'll use an example of Candace Owens, who's a huge person on the right, even though some of us are very, very skeptical of Candace Owens. And boy, oh boy, did everyone just love to see that red pill black show up because, we have the right, don't have enough black people, in theory. And so she showed up. We're like, oh, yeah, bring her on. She's probably awesome. This is awesome. And then a couple people went, oh, wait a minute. Isn't that the girl who did what was that social thing she did? She wanted to dox people who said mean things about her. And then we got, we got Milo, and Milo kind of turned out kind of weird eventually, and he's still kind of weird. And Fuentes at first, and some people like Fuentes, some people don't. I think Fuentes is an idiot. But then we get, Eliza Bleu. And look, I think part of the problem, isn't part of the problem with Eliza Bleu is the fact that you cannot question certain entities about their past without accusations. And in this case, a woman, okay, it's hard. You have to be careful because that's kind of with Candace Owens too. If, you can't question women, and certainly not someone who's presenting themselves as a trafficking survivor, right? You can't question their, and also, look, especially the fact that this survivor is someone who is advocating for other survivors. I mean, of course you want to support someone who's like that. And so you don't want to be the one going out there, wait a minute, we want to vet you because, you might be a fraud. And because no one wants to think that. And so it's just one of those things where you go, oh, is it because we're gullible, or is it because we want to be charitable? And there's a combination of things in there that we should probably consider when we ask that question. But I got to get into the show, so we're going to say hi to everybody. But first, Chicago Mike, by the way, thank you for starting the show. And you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Yay, Chicago Mike dropping a big bullet in the tip jar, who says, today is the day we celebrate Bill Murray stepping into a pothole. Happy Groundhog Day and 6 more weeks of winter. Yes, it is definitely that. And in fact, it's funny you should mention that because it is Groundhog's Day, and I was going to mention that right after I say hi to everybody. So we'll get to that. Happy Groundhog's Day, and I love that movie. I still can watch that movie and enjoy it. It's very it's a funny concept, and I really, really, really like that movie. If you've never seen Groundhog's Day, I don't know why, because I think everyone's seen it. But if you haven't, you should find it somewhere on Netflix or Hulu or whichever streaming service has it. Or I'm sure you could probably find it on, broadcast TV sometime today. I would imagine somebody's going to play it because it's a great movie and it's Groundhog's Day. For those of you who are not familiar with Groundhog Day, this is the day we decide. We let a giant rodent decide whether or not we're going to have 6 more weeks of winter. Apparently the rodent has spoken, and we are seeing 6 more weeks of winter. I'll get into that in a minute. But first, I got to say hello. First in the chat over on Rumble today is Avocado Diablo. Whoops, wrong one button. There you go. Good morning, sir. Also, good morning, Simon Wolfwood. Cryptic 970. Is that a new name for you, Cryptic, or do you have to have a different Rumble name? Also, Jimmy Das, Hotep's in the house, TC, Mike Savage, Blarg, and that's everyone over on Rumble. At least that's everyone in the chat on Rumble. There are a few people watching over there. I appreciate you watching on Rumble. By the way, make sure you're subscribed to me on Rumble, on YouTube, on Odyssey, all of those entities, because should I be... what was I was going to say deflowered, but that's not true. If I should happen to not show up there for reasons that because of the powers that be, you should be able to find me on one of the other two. Now, I'm not streaming on Odyssey right now, but I might add that as the daily routine. And as soon as I figure out how to do that in a very more simple way, the thing about streaming on the other platforms other than YouTube. YouTube, I don't have to enter a damn stream key every day. Whereas on Rumble and on Odyssey, you have to enter a new stream key every day, and it's annoying. But I might have to do that should the YouTube situation ever go south. Now, in fact, let me just say something here. I have something that I want to, there's an appeal on a copyright claim, 2 of them actually, that were denied. And so when you first request a review of the copyright claim, you get a 30-day window, whatever. They don't give you a strike, but I'm going to appeal their decision to deny my whatever they call it, the request for appeal. So I'm going to appeal those appeals, and those give you 7 days, but I could get strikes on the channel. I'm not going to do that until after the 1,000 episode celebration, which again is next Friday. Don't forget, next Friday, 1,000 episodes. Now, the 1,000th episode is actually Thursday, but the celebration will be on Friday. I'm going to be doing an all-day stream. We're going to have a whole bunch of guests popping in and out during the day. We're going to just do stories as I find them during the day. If I can't think of something to talk about for 8 hours, because it's going to be an 8-hour stream from 9 a.m. my time till 5 p.m. my time. Wait, is that 8 hours? Yeah, that's 8 hours. So, which is 10 o'clock Eastern to 6 o'clock Eastern, and then you can adjust your time zones on that. So that's going to be a real fun day. And I want you to help me promote that. Please, please, please. I'm going to start promoting that this week. I'm going to be promoting it the entire week. I'm going to have it set up in advance so that the people who are going to come visit that day can just already have that available. I'll send it to them again that day, and we're going to have a fun time. We're going to talk about things that we talked about throughout these 1,000 episodes. There are a few of my favorite things. These are a few of my favorite things. There's some stories that I just loved over these last 1,000 episodes, so we'll talk about that. Now, over on YouTube, first in the chat is Tyrannus. Wait a minute, hold on. You're here first. You get this. First in the chat on YouTube is Tyrannus Alexandrius Tremendous. And you get the bell. Thank you, sir, for being here. Also, good morning, Advocatus Diabli. Also, Simon Wolfwood, Simon Humble Nation, Rick Ashbringer, Chicago Mike, Lord Stanhope, James Colley, Maddie's in the house. Also, good morning, Plague Dr. Zach. TC's over there. I see Mike Savage, Blarg. Unacceptable Views. How are you all on this fine day? Well, I'm just fine. Thank you. And I hope everyone else is. Also, good morning. Did I say Lord Stanhope? Yes, I did. Also, good morning. Episkipos 5Z. Is it 4Z? I have to think about this. I don't know why I can't remember that. Anyway, good morning, sir. Also, good morning, Tyler F, Aaron Meredith. Almost done. Nomads in the house. Hammer time. And I think that's everybody. Is that everybody so far, or do I need to scroll more? It looks like everybody. That's everybody who's said something. Now, real quick, while you're thinking about it, or even before you're thinking about it, because I'm going to remind you, on both YouTube and Rumble, it helps to hit that thumbs up button. There's one on the Rumble side. There's only one on the Rumble side. What's up? If you're watching over there, put the thumbs up. Thumb up this show. As opposed to, never mind. I don't want to go there. And then also on YouTube, hit the thumbs up button while you're watching. Also, share the stream. It's important you share the stream. Share both the Rumble and the YouTube channel if you'd like, but at least share one of them so we get people coming by. And also, if you want to sponsor the show, like Chicago Mike just did, you can do that 24 hours a day at pdognight.live, right up there. It's up in the upper right-hand corner. There's not a whole lot on that page anymore. I have to redo it. But at least the place where you can put that little, click that little dollar thingy and write your message, because you can write a message, no matter how much you donate, you write a message, or you can do YouTube Super Chats or Venmo or Cash App too. But 24 hours a day, I'll read those messages from pdognight.live and from YouTube Super Chats. Okay, enough about that. Before I get into the main topic of the day, though, someone mentioned it is Groundhog's Day. Now, I have always been curious about Groundhog's Day. How that stuff came to be. And I get on Twitter and because I'm going to, figure I'd say something about Groundhog's Day today. And okay, this place, apparently in Pennsylvania, where the Puxatawny Phil, that's the name of the groundhog, at least they have they keep naming this groundhog that they use for this over and over, Puxatawny Phil. But the location where Puxatawny Phil is trending on Twitter, and that is called Gobbler's Knob. Now, I don't know why the tradition of Puxatawny Phil being at Gobbler's Knob to predict the weather it was such a tradition. But this is Gobbler's Knob trending on Twitter today, and it says, Groundhog Day, Puxatawny Phil has been at Gobbler's Knob predicting weather. Spring is near since February 2nd, 1887. The celebration of Groundhog's Day began with German immigrants, Pennsylvania's earliest settlers. They brought with them the legend of Candlemas Day. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into Candlemas Day. Oh, wait. Where's my alert? But I have an excuse for being late. Oh, YouTube. Hello, chat and Peanut. Well, thank you, Kay. Thank you for sponsoring the show. I appreciate you. Good to see you. So there you go. Welcome. That's nice to see you back. Haven't been a while. Also, Aquarian Anarchy's in the house. I see you, brother. Nice to see you, my friend. And The Chosen One. That's a new one. Newer. Welcome back. These platforms make rules that everyone will inevitably break and enforce selectively. This is true. That is absolutely true. And Zach Osborne's in the house too. I don't think I said hi to Zach. All right, I think I'm caught up on everyone who's in the chat. So anyway, Gobbler's Knob. Now, when I saw that Gobbler's Knob was trending on YouTube, I was beginning to think that sounded like something else, if you know what I'm saying. But no, it doesn't mean anything about that. I just thought that was funny. Good morning, Tex AG007 too. So anyway, Puxatawny Phil of Gobbler's Knob, Pennsylvania has seen a shadow, and now there will be 6 more weeks of cuddles. No, 6 more weeks of winter. So anyway, and look, of course, as you go through this thing, it's sorry, Hunter Biden, Gobbler's Knob is not where the crack and hookers are. Okay, that's good to know. So anyway, all right. Wait, what? Of course you found it dirty. We're all 5 years old here. I know. It's just, I couldn't help it. It sounded weird. So anyway, now it also reminds me of the fact that, if you don't remember, today marks the 7th anniversary of Bill de Blasio attempting to kill, dropping Charlotte, who is standing in for Staten Island Chuck. Apparently they do this in Staten Island, New York too. And so, 1 week later Charlotte died from internal injuries. So Bill de Blasio was at the Groundhog's Day celebration in Staten Island, and he killed the freaking groundhog. It died from internal injuries after. I mean, I don't mean to laugh that he killed the groundhog, but oh my God, 9 years ago today, Staten Island Chuck was violently murdered by New York Mayor Bill de Blasio. Oh, good Lord. So sad. So sad. I mean, anyway, is this a full video of it? No, this is just, and then Charlotte ran back into her little hole there. Anyway, so that was a sad day in the world. Poor Charlotte, who was just a stand-in too. Charlotte was just a stand-in. He killed the stand-in for Staten Island Chuck. And everyone was sad, and the world was not in a better place anymore. So anyway, good morning, Furry Kitten over on Rumble. Good to see you over here too. All right, so couple quick thank yous and then we'll get into it. Jimmy Das Hotep, thank you for tweeting out the show. Plague Dr. Zach Osborne, thank you for retweeting my tweet at the tweet. That is the show. Swamp Fox Ghost, same thing. Somnambule Nation, same thing. In fact, I'm going to retweet y'all for tweeting this stuff out because, I appreciate you very much. There, I didn't do it very well, though. There we go. There's that one. And then I do Somnambule Nation. There we go. I appreciate y'all tweeting out the show because it really does help. It also helps when you hit the like button, when you share the streams. And again, our goal for next Friday, I have a whole bunch of people helping me out with this. Maybe the goal is to see if we can get 1,000 people in the chat, or not in the chat, but watching the show at some point. And some bigger YouTubers are going to be joining me that day, so maybe some of their fans will come over and it'll be a fun day no matter what. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. We're probably going to spend the whole day either on Twitter or in the news feeds just to see what's happening and then just talk about funny stuff that's happened in the past. Now, you know what's funny? Because I'm talking about this Eliza Bleu story again, and it's almost as though my first week of the show, we talked about a couple. I wouldn't necessarily call them hoaxes. I would call them, they like to use the word misinformation, for example, right? People who make a story of something that's not really what it is. So my first week of doing this show, back in January of 2019, the very first week of this show, we had the Covington Catholic kids, okay, with the jackass beating the drum in Nick Salmon's face, and they were blaming Nick Salmon for just standing there. Although the split-second picture made it look like he was smirking, but he was just, if you see the video, he's just like, okay, this guy's banging a drum in my face. I'm not going to move because I don't know what to do. Okay, and then he told his friends not to argue with the other guy that was with him. And then he just kept back to watching. But the split-second photo, oh, man, they made it sound like these kids came and surrounded this poor Native American Vietnam veteran who's just doing a ceremony on Indigenous Peoples Day, and these kids were harassing this old man when the old man was actually harassing the kids. And then, I don't even think it was a week later, Jussie Smollett. Which still might be my favorite story of all time. Yeah, you might call them scams. Sure, chosen one. That might be a good word for it. Jussie Smollett was like a week later. And that was, I could not have started out my show with anything better because, I had very few subscribers then. And that wasn't when I first started YouTube. I just started doing the show then, but I still had very few subscribers. And that one, just because it was such a funny story to me and so much bullshit that I really got a lot out of that story for months and years because that went on for so long. So, but he was aggressively smiling. Yes, he was, Brad. By the way, welcome, Brad Young. Yes, he was aggressively smiling. It was very, very aggressive smiling, and you shouldn't be aggressively smiling at Native American Vietnam War era veterans. Notice I threw in the word era this time. Anyway, and it all turned out to be bullshit. So anyway, I hope that that story was the story that just kept on giving. So, so it's kind of apropos that as I near my 1000th episode, I have another story that would I say this is scam? I don't know. I still, even to this day, it's so hard for me not to want to give the benefit of the doubt to this woman up there, Eliza Bleu. If anything, her saga has raised awareness for women or kids or people who are victims of trafficking, I guess. Oh, Cam, nice to see you, man. Did I get the drive link I sent? I haven't. I'll look. I haven't I did get the message, and I think you put it in my DMs, and I did. So I haven't downloaded yet today. I'm working on that today some. So thank you very much, by the way. I appreciate it. Nice to see you in the chat too. So anyway, we want to give the benefit of the doubt, especially to people who might be a victim of something, and it's hard to say, okay, someone comes and tells you that what their mission in life is to help people who are victims, and they say that they are a victim. Do you want to be the first thing you say back to them? You want to prove that you're a victim, please? I don't believe you. So, is it a case of that we're being charitable or gullible? And I think had more people spent at least a little bit of due diligence on this person, they might have, look, people have been talking about Eliza Bleu and issues with her stories pretty much the entire 3 years that she's been on the scene as a anti-human trafficking advocate. And so, and see, Zach, as far as I'm concerned, her raising awareness is like these YouTubers paying editors in exposure. I'm not sure what that means. Explain what that means. I'm not sure. Still on the raising awareness. No, I am not on the raising awareness. What I'm saying is, there's a lot more people who know about human trafficking now, maybe not in the right light, though. And it makes you skeptical of anyone else who comes out that says that they were part of this. And now people are starting to question, like one of the women who started at least is starting some kind of a help situation for those types of people, who was part of the Epstein issue, Virginia Gullable or whatever name it is. People are starting to look at her sideways a little bit now too. So hopefully, look at me. I was trafficked. Don't look at all the women and children coming across the southern border. Look at me. Yeah, there's so much stuff. Why isn't she down there helping people? That's a good question too. The thing is, we are too polarized. All one has to do is play to a tribe and bam, instant gold mine. Well, we clearly have seen this with her. Now, what's interesting though, I don't, oh wow, Eddie Haskell, how many Vietnam vets does it take to screw in a light bulb? You weren't there, man. What's that guy's name? What's the fake Indian? Well, he's not a fake Indian. He's a fake Vietnam vet. Well, besides Dick Blumenthal. Now that's a whole nother person who did what do you call it? Stolen valor. Anyway, okay. Let me get into this article though from the Daily Beast, because there's some interesting things in here, and it's quite the long story, but there's some things in here where you go, even the Daily Beast is playing a team by writing this story. And so it's very interesting. So let's get it. I want to get into that before I flap my lips too long. Let me get this fitting on the page though. There we go. All right. So the Daily Beast has come out with their story. And then if you remember the other day, I think I said this, one of the writers for this story reached out to Eliza on Twitter. I don't think she responded, but their story comes out swinging right with the title. Eliza Bleu's own friends aren't buying her trafficking story. Damn, that's interesting. That's right off the bat. They ain't playing. Okay. But you see agenda in this as soon as you get into this, because the sub headline is Elon Musk's favorite anti-trafficking advocate. Really? Is Elon Musk the main story here? But obviously all the deal with people being, I would say, censored or I wouldn't say banned from Twitter, although now there have been some people banned from Twitter over this story. Some have just been restricted and asked to change some shit. But anyway, but they're making this about Elon Musk as much as they're making about Eliza Bleu, but also they're making it about the people who believed her, and a little bit. And we'll get to that. Because this story is interesting how they write it. Elon Musk's favorite anti-trafficking advocate has set off a war in right-wing circles. After Twitter banned some of her critics and her own friends are poking holes in her story. Now, this is new. Some of her friends are poking holes in her story. Well, I suppose Chrissy Mayer was a friend, or at least a friendly acquaintance. A lot of these people who've had her on their shows who are actually criticizing this, I mean, I would say they were at least friendly. Although there's certainly a lot of people on the right not even talking about this. You know, because they were duped. I mean, Tim Pool had his one-liner when Hotep Jesus was on, but that was about it. Merle Davis, hello. So anyway, so they start out the story with striking lilac hair and a pugnacious attitude. The anti-sex trafficking activist known as Eliza Bleu has broken into some of the top tiers of right-wing media, and this is true. She has been in. Well, here's the examples they give. In just a few years, growing your audience through interviews with popular figures like Ben Shapiro, Tim Pool, and Dr. Drew Pinsky. And I would add a couple others that I am familiar and friendly with, but here we go. But in late 2022, Blue found an even more powerful ally. New Twitter owner Elon Musk. Blue, who refers to herself as a survivor of human trafficking, which she has an interesting definition of. This is my own aside. And in fact, Tree of Logic has been talking about this a lot, as she's found a lot of stuff that other people haven't talked about. She might just be talking about the fact that Eliza was possibly a prostitute and had a pimp, and is redefining human trafficking with just having a pimp. There's plenty of evidence that suggests that. Blue herself, who reversed herself as a survivor of human trafficking, has lent the billionaire an unusual form of credibility by insisting that pre-Musk Twitter was overrun with child pornography. Okay, that was true. There was a lot on there, and certainly they did not do a good job of removing it. Only Musk, Blue says, has been willing to stamp out the abusive material on Twitter at scale. In another tweet, she declared, "The war against Elon Musk is actually a war over your mind." Musk responded with a bullseye emoji. Okay, no problems there. Blue's praise for Musk. Okay, notice how they really want to make this about Elon Musk and not her. Blue's praise for Musk comes even as the billionaire has slashed much of Twitter's staff. Well, so has all the other social media companies, including huge numbers of workers responsible for content moderation, which is what they want. They want the overlords to tell you what you can and cannot say. For his part, Musk has boosted Blue's profile on the site with replies and retweets, helping her earn more than 100,000 new followers in December alone. Now, she was somewhat high profile before that, but certainly Musk has replied to a lot of people that most of the Twitter powers that be don't reply to, and he has done that for a lot of people. "You have a direct line to me on this issue," Musk told Blue in a Twitter Space live chat in December. But now Blue and Musk find themselves, now how, again, see, they want this about the bigger picture of Elon Musk, which of course Musk has, or at least, now I wouldn't know that Musk personally, but certainly the platform which Musk has taken time to purchase has certainly become embroiled in this controversy. And I think that's thanks to the new head of trust and safety, Miss Ella. Now Blue and Musk find themselves embroiled in a Twitter censorship controversy after multiple critics of Blue who shared embarrassing images from her past. And I don't know why they're embarrassing. That's the problem I'm having. Why were those images embarrassing when she consented to them? I'll get to the end of that in a minute. After some embarrassing images of her past saw their accounts temporarily suspended from the site, some users suggested that Blue's direct line to Twitter's brass and Musk himself may have led to the crackdown, even as the Twitter owner insists he's in favor of free speech and wide-ranging debate. Blue and Twitter did not respond to requests for comment. Now, this is kind of... Remember what I said... When I showed you that tweet of the people reaching out to Eliza Bleu, I said, oh, is this one of those Taylor Lorenz things where they reach out to make the appearance of reaching out, but they already have the hit piece written? I wonder if I was right. Yeah, I absolutely was right. This story came out like the next day after that. Or was it, maybe it was, yeah, because it came out yesterday. And that was, I think it was on, might have been on Monday or Tuesday that they sent that tweet directly to Eliza Bleu. By the way, who now has her Twitter account under lock, protected. But a lot of people are doing that protected because of some weird stuff going on with Twitter. But that's beyond the point. Amid the controversy over the suspended accounts, questions about Blue's background have emerged. No. The questions about Blue's background emerged over a year ago, and it comes up about every 6 months, and someone has a thread about, hey, is anyone actually looking into this woman? But it gained widespread attention since then. Her critics have seized on contradictory videos and interviews and her frequent use of different names online, suggesting Blue isn't who she claims to be. Well, she's certainly who she claims to be. She just keeps changing her name. Now, though, this is the kicker. 2 former friends of Blue tell the Daily Beast that, at best, Blue is exaggerating her experiences for attention. Oh, shocker. Don't tell me. I can't imagine that she's done that after all the shit we've seen. Of course she is. Anyway, it's making a lot of her old friends around here very angry, said Carly Wenzel, a one-time pal of Blue who has known her for 2 decades, who added she believes Blue is completely lying. Blue grew up in a rural area along Illinois' border with Iowa, known as the Quad Cities. Okay, I got a quick question for y'all in the chat. Before I just read that, in fact, let's do a poll. Before today, have had you heard of the Quad Cities? And I asked that only because I'm from the Midwest, and I always knew where the Quad Cities were. I know it's I don't know what they are. I know it's Davenport, Muscatine, Rock Island. I don't know what the 4th one is, but there's 4 little towns on the Iowa border between Iowa and Illinois. And anyway, I already knew about them. Anyway, let's see. She's portrayed her homeschooled upbringing as an innocent one, albeit one that made her all the more naive about how the world really works. I don't know about that. Despite her claims to the contrary, public records prove that Blue's original name was Eliza Morthland. Born in 1981, her father is Richard Mortland, a farmer and a former Illinois state representative who ran unsuccessfully on the GOP ticket for lieutenant governor in 2018. Oh, he ran for lieutenant governor. You know what? So she wasn't lying when she said her father has never run for governor. Remember that? She made a big deal about that one day, that her father she has no member of her family who ran for governor. That's because he ran for lieutenant governor. So there's a lie by omission. Morthland did not respond, and then Morthland, her dad, did not respond for a request for comment. In 2021, Blue appeared to deny on Twitter that she was Eliza Morthland But Facebook photos of her show her standing with other members of the Morthland family. A 2010 newspaper article about Richard Morthland shows a woman who looks just like Bleu standing next to the politician and identified as his daughter, Eliza Morthland. Richard Morthland also gave comment for a 2009 article about a band Bleu worked for under her married name, Eliza Sight. Her married name. And Bleu's cosmetology license lists Richard Morthland's farm as her address. So there's no question. And by the way, we all know for a fact that she is related to Richard Morthland. There's no question that Bleu has advocated for trafficking victims, especially on Twitter. But she has offered murky accounts of her own background that leave even her supporters unsure about all but the vaguest details. She can also grow hostile with the reporters who ask for basic facts like the year she was trafficked or the name of her perpetrators. For example, journalist Kaylee Herzog reached Bleu on the phone in December only to have Bleu become defensive when Herzog raised the prospect of asking Bleu about her own story. Interviewed on Tim Pool's podcast, Bleu said she could not offer details about her alleged abusers because of unspecified legal issues. Then she asked why it would be a problem if she was making up her story. Let's say, hypothetically, it's made up, Bleu said. What's my biggest win so far in public? Getting Twitter to address child sexual abuse material and make it a top priority? I'm not asking an abuser for money, and I'm not asking people for money, she added. Oh, contraire, she has. The Daily Beast pieced together a rough outline of Bleu's account of her trafficking experiences based on interviews she's given to sympathetic media outlets. Bleu has said that her trafficking spanned 2 different periods separated by roughly a decade. In her telling, Bleu was first groomed by a prominent photographer she met at a Warped Tour concert in Chicago when she was 16. Now, I'm confused because I'm pretty sure. So she said she was trafficked by this photographer, right? Or groomed. Oh, groomed. Hang on. Let me finish this because this will explain my question, I think. A few years later, when she was still a teenager in the late 1990s, Bleu's father drove her to Los Angeles. Wait a minute. What? Hold on. See, this is confusing. So her story is that she met a photographer at a Warped Tour concert in Chicago when she was 16. She was groomed, okay, because she lived at home and went to school and whatever not. And then Bleu's father drove her to Los Angeles because Bleu was convinced that an unnamed high-profile musician she met through that photographer would make her a star. Instead, she was sexually assaulted within 48 hours of arriving in the city. According to a 2020 podcast interview, her traffickers quickly hooked her on a drug known as ice, generally recognized as slang for crystal methamphetamine, though Bleu has said she didn't know what drug it was. Bleu claims she was sold for $500 to a sex trafficking ring in the Hollywood Hills, where she found herself living with members of a ring that trafficked transgender women. Well, why? She's not a transgender woman. Why would she be sold to a ring that trafficked transgender women? She says, I was sold for $500 to a very old gentleman in the hills, Bleu said in the 2020 interview. Bleu claims she struggled enough to get water and food because I was on drugs and other substances, but Bleu was such a handful for her traffickers in her telling that they ultimately gave her back to the original trafficker for free. Bleu claims she was hospitalized for a drug overdose before returning to her family farm in Illinois. So I'm curious, if she was hospitalized, there's probably a record of that. Of course, she wouldn't be able to find it unless she put it out there. My family didn't even recognize me when I got off the plane, Bleu said. After this, now this is a telling that she told. This is one of the times she told her story because she's told different versions of the story that have little different details. But anyway, after 2 weeks on the farm, she returned to Los Angeles to retrieve her car. Wait, wait a minute. Didn't they just say that her father drove her to California? But then she went to retrieve her car. So she had a car, but she got driven to California. Oh, yes, there you go. Let me just, Tyre, this is for you. Lights, yeah. And
why the fuck you lying?
And
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
Okay, that's Retire Alexander. That is Malefica. Pimping is trafficking. Yeah, well, yes and no. Okay. I suppose it's the definition has changed over time, and in fact, she alluded to that in an interview with somebody when they were talking about the other woman who's also an advocate, I guess, or at least draws awareness to this cause. How the language has changed, but there's also some question on whether or not she just was a freelancer too. So just that's the question. But thank you, Malefica, and welcome to the show over on Rumble. I appreciate you. And then she says it's odd what happens to the trauma brain, Blue said in a 2020 podcast episode to explain why she returned to her traffickers, comparing it to Stockholm syndrome. Well, and it also could have been maybe she made some money doing it too. I don't know. But I'm not. Well, let me just read along. Blue's second trafficking period in her account began roughly 2008 or 2009 when she was living in the Chicago area. In that same 2020 podcast interview, Blue claimed she was trafficked by a high-profile athlete whom she has declined to name. That man and his associates, according to Blue, put her in a dangerous neighborhood she said has existed on what she called a gang line, the violent border where two Chicago gang territories meet. Now, this is the part of the story where I go, I do one of those, what's that slap your head thing they do on in the movie Airplane? This is the part, because their friends tell a completely different story. We'll get to it. My mattress was on the floor because we had so many shootings that year in the area, Blue recalled in 2020. I just didn't want to get shot. Now, Blue's attempt to leave her traffickers in 2013 and in her account ultimately succeeded for good in about 2014. Blue has repeatedly suggested that her former traffickers from Chicago might still be out to get revenge on her and her family members. Damn, she was in deep, right? When I stepped away from the gang, my traffickers lost money, Blue said in a 2020 interview, and they want that money back. Wow. From all the way back from 2009 to 2013, that gang still wants their money back. Now, asked in the 2021 interview why she hadn't pressed charges against the unnamed athlete and her other traffickers, Blue, appearing on a podcast with more than 100,000 YouTube subscribers, said the men could still track her down and murder her. This is, oh my goodness, it's awful. I am terrified that they would kill myself or my family or people that I care about, Blue said. That's how organized they are. So so if that's the case, doesn't her being an advocate for trafficking victims also put her in danger? I'm not sure. That's weird. Anyway, last month, Blue tweeted that her family knows every detail of her story and stands behind her. Then she blasted the corporate media for asking questions about her past, declaring, if anyone steps on my family property or my property, let it be extremely clear that we are all armed. Well, it wasn't the corporate media that was looking for her or calling her out. Just general people online who kind of knew her story or knew from the past were starting to call her out, like DeFango, who knew her from the past and was like, wait, when was this? So Wenzel, now this is her friend, right? Wenzel, her one-time friend of Blue, who says she has known the anti-trafficking activist for more than 2 decades, doesn't think Blue's count is accurate. Wenzel told the Daily Beast that she met Blue in the Quad Cities, where both women were partying with musicians. Wenzel was 18 and said Blue was in her early 20s. The Daily Beast verified Wenzel's friendship with Blue through photographs. In Wenzel's telling, she and Blue were both deeply involved in the scene subculture of the early aughts, a time of tight jeans, swooping haircuts, and high drama on sites like MySpace and LiveJournal, which there's some receipts that people have from MySpace still. Wenzel was trying to hook up with a member of one of her favorite bands on a tour bus in Iowa City when Blue stepped on board. The two young women realized they had mutual friends and shared an interest in music and the men who made it. She said that she was going to be very famous for sleeping with band members, Wenzel recalled. Wenzel takes issue with Blue's timeline of her first trafficking experience. She claims she too was at the Warped Tour concert where Blue met the photographer she claims groomed her, but while Blue said that she wasn't even 18 when she met the photographer, Wenzel insists that Blue would have been in her early 20s, putting the date of the concert sometime in the early 2000s. Huh, interesting. Her timeline is just weird, Wenzel said, noting she believes that Blue appears to be lying about her age in certain articles, which, women do that shit, right? Blue moved to Los Angeles, but Wenzel doesn't remember hearing about her old friend being trafficked. Instead, she said Blue unsuccessfully tried to convince Wenzel to move in with her in California. She did not recall Blue calling home to the Quad Cities with tales of being addicted to ice or living with a trafficked group of transgender women in the Hollywood Hills. Wenzel said she keeps seeing these stories out of L.A. and she believes that it absolutely didn't happen. Now, again, she's not an eyewitness to any of it, but was her friend just not telling her? I don't know. Blue worked for a mega popular rock band, My Chemical Romance, as a stylist, going by the hair-inspired name of Eliza Cuts online. Blue's job brought her into a group of My Chemical Romance entourage members dubbed as the world's most hated crew. That clique also included future YouTube star and makeup mogul Jeffree Star, and they have video of her with Jeffree Star, who would later be accused of paying hush money to sexual assault accusers. Yes, that is what they said. Thank you, Chicago Mike, sponsors the show. Chicago Mike's know a little bit about Chicago, but I don't know how much time you spend in the Quad Cities. Who says you have to be careful with those nasty Iowa gangs? Yes, you do. Those nasty Iowa gangs in the Quad Cities, boy, I'll tell you. Anyway, so Blue is closely monitored by the band's fans on sites like LiveJournal, particularly after she entered a brief engagement with My Chemical Romance's heartthrob lead singer, Gerard Way. Okay, here's another question for you. Okay, we got the results of the first poll. Most of you have not heard of the Quad Cities before now. Yeah, it's on the border of Iowa and on the border of Iowa and Illinois. Davenport, Iowa is thinks the biggest of the four cities. Rock Island, Illinois. What's the other one? I just said it. Anyway, that's where the Quad Cities. Here's a new question. And maybe this is just my age showing or something. Had you heard of the band My Chemical Romance before this story? Because I have not. There we go. New poll. Oh, wait. No. That's not what I wanted to do. What the hell? Oh, gosh. Let's remove all the questions from the question list. Oh, is that the new one? Oh, shoot. Okay, I don't want that. I want a new poll. New poll. What the hell did I just do? And now I'm back in Top Chat. Yeah, you just don't like to do this. You're not very good at this. Okay, I don't want a Q&A. I start a poll. There you go. Heard of My Chemical Romance? There's the new poll, because I certainly hadn't. All right. So anyway, but Blue stirred up some controversy of her own with diehard supporters of the band in online mini scandals that featured Blue calling Star the N-word. Well, I don't know if I'm not sure about that. Hello, Keebler. I'm not so sure that not that many people heard about this. It became a scandal recently when people discovered the video of her saying that. But anyway, and allegedly authoring a thinly veiled fictional account of her failed relationship with Wade. Now that I know, probably with the band's groupies, they probably didn't like that. So anyway, after leaving the rock circuit, Blue lived with a friend in Chicago from roughly 2009 to 2011. That's around the period when Blue claims she began to be sex trafficked again. Now, this is the same time period when she was making those videos, isn't it? Isn't that when she was doing the Video Vixen tour? I don't know. That's around the period when Bleu claimed she began sex trafficking again by the unnamed athlete in a violence-plagued neighborhood. But, now this is the part that I'm like, wait a minute. But that's not how her former roommate, who asked the Daily Beast not to use her name out of fear of backlash from Blue's fans, remembers it. Instead, she said the pair lived in Wicker Park, an affluent, trendy Chicago neighborhood. The roommate said Blue's parents were always supportive financially. Now, this makes a little more sense. Look, the Moreland family is very, very, very wealthy. They have a 400-acre farm over out just outside the Quad Cities. He's got lots of dough. He's a politician. I'm sure that, and her saying that Blue's parents were always supportive financially, I am not shocked at all. She was not in a precarious situation, the roommate told the Daily Beast in a text message. The roommate does remember Blue sleeping on the floor, though, not because of bullets. She slept on the floor, but by choice, because she was into these floor pillows at the time, the friend told the Daily Beast, though she added that Blue eventually bought a bed. Like the ex-roommate, Wendell scoffs at the idea that Blue lived in a dangerous neighborhood. Wenzel, who by then was married with a child, said she brought her toddler to visit Blue and the roommate at their apartment, hardly at the front of a gang war. So Eliza needs to keep track of her stories. Yes, I grew up the mean streets of Wrigleyville. Yeah, pretty much. That is so not true, Wenzel said. She lived in a really cute apartment. They're the whitest girls you could ever meet. There was no gang activity. Around this time, Blue resurfaced online as Eliza Sipe in 2010, unsuccessfully auditioning for American Idol, using a surname she had picked up during a short-lived marriage. But she soon moved on to a new name and another position in the music industry. Now she would become Eliza Knows, the sultry, self-proclaimed music video vixen. And that's where we've seen multiple music videos with Eliza Knows. Under her new online name, Blue began to dance as a video vixen in mostly low-budget music videos. A YouTube playlist that appears to have been compiled by Blue herself shows her gyrating in videos from 2012 to 2013 with song titles like Feeling Myself and A Million Ways to Love You. Now, let's see if this playlist is still here. They put a link to it. And yep, the playlist is still here on YouTube. I will leave that up. Look at this. Eliza Sipe. Do you see? Oh, you can't see it because it's not full screen. Let's go full screen here. Eliza Sipe playlist. All these videos of her being a video hoe, okay? I shouldn't say that. That's not nice. But, you know, when the shoe fits. In one 2012 video Blue posted on YouTube, she filmed herself calling her mother to shock her with the news that she'd become a music video dancer, only to discover that her mother was happy for her. In the video, Blue told her mother she wanted to become a music video dancer because of her childhood admiration for the Fly Girls, dancers on the comedy show In Living Color. Blue also gave interviews about the video vixen lifestyle in 2016, speaking in a markedly different voice than the one she used in earlier media appearances. You mean when she was code shifting? Let's see. She claimed that she had rejected an offer to have sex with a client for $150,000. Yes, I've seen that video too. It's a nice offer, but it's not me, Blue said. Well, it might have been you in the past. I'm curious. Still, it appears that Blue may have engaged in some kind of sex work around this time. In one interview, Blue advertised her account on a now-defunct Camgirl website where men could pay money to talk to her. Around 2016, Wenzel claims Blue asked her to join her as an escort. Oh, wait a minute. Promising Wenzel that she could make $500 a night, an offer that stunned Wenzel and her husband. Now, what was that about? She kept saying $500. She got sold for $500. Bleu asked her to join her as an escort, promising that Wenzel could make $500 in a night. And then Wenzel says she was absolutely loving it. She was bragging about it, saying she was making so much money. Bleu later suggested that sex workers with a pimp might qualify as trafficking victims, though Wenzel said she didn't meet any pimp or trafficker when she socialized with Bleu, be it an unnamed high-profile athlete or otherwise. She was very powerful, very smart, intelligent woman. I would not discredit her for that, Wenzel said. She knew exactly what she was doing. As proof that she was trafficked, Bleu often cites the organization she says saved her, or saved my life, Eve's Angel, a Christian nonprofit that serves sex trafficking victims, and women seeking to leave the commercial sex industry. In her telling, Bleu lived in her gangland apartment in 2013 and desperate to leave her traffickers. Oh, in what was that neighborhood called? Let's see. It was Wicker Park. I almost said Wigger Park because, David Packman made $500 a night at Circuit City part-time. Hey, there you go. Was it in the bathrooms? Sorry, Kevin. I'm sure that's what you meant. Anyway, she said she left her gangland apartment in 2013 and desperate to leave her traffickers, contacted Eve's Angel after discovering founder Annie Donowald through a YouTube video. In another recent tweet, Bleu claimed to have found the group via a web address in a Bible the group left at a strip club. So she had a couple different stories of how she found Eve's Angels. The group soon spirited Bleu away from her traffickers, in theory, and into a safe house 3 states away. Wow. In her account, Bleu claims she briefly returned to her traffickers after that escape, but eventually escaped the traffickers' clutches for good around 2014. Donowald defended Bleu from skeptics earlier this month, tweeting that Bleu is the real deal. But like Bleu, Donowald's claims about sex trafficking in her own life have come under scrutiny. In 2018, Donowald's parents and brother filed a defamation suit against Donowald and Eve's Angels. While Donowald and her children were living with her family members in Michigan, Donowald's parents confronted her about her treatment of her daughter. According to the lawsuit, in response, Donowald and her group accused her parents of sexually abusing and trafficking children, according to a 2022 appeals court opinion. Donowald took the case to police, leading to a criminal investigation into her parents, but no charges. Donowald's claims fell apart after her daughter told her grandparents that Donowald had told her to fabricate the claims in an attempt to score a payoff from the grandparents, the appeals court opinion found. So, she tried to scam her own damn parents. The activist was ordered to pay a judgment of more than $47,000 plus legal fees as of May 2022. May 2022 appeals court ruling. The family was still stalled in settlement talks, with Donowald denying the defamation claims. Donowald did not respond to requests for comments. Eve's Angels did not return an email. The 2 phone numbers attached to the charity were either not in service or went directly to a full voicemail box. Now, Bleu emerged as a public survivor advocate a few weeks into the pandemic, worrying in an April 2020 article in the conservative Daily Wire that pandemic lockdowns could worsen sex trafficking. Within 2 years, she would amass a large profile through Twitter and right-wing podcast, culminating in her alliance with Musk. In December, Bleu aided Musk in his campaign against Twitter's former head of trust and safety, Yoel Roth, who seemingly angered the billionaire after resigning in November, linking to a 2010 tweet by Roth that read, "Can high school students ever meaningfully consent to sex with their teachers?" And Musk replied, "This explains a lot." And many of his followers took the bait. Wait a minute. What do you mean took the bait? It was a tweet. It was there. But suggesting that Roth was a depraved sex criminal amid other attacks. Okay, so they like Roth, clearly. Among other attacks, Roth reportedly was forced to flee his home. In truth, the 2010 tweet merely linked to a Salon article that did not advocate allowing teachers to have sex with minors. Instead, it examined a criminal case against a teacher who had an illegal relationship with an 18-year-old student. So I'm just curious. So I'm not sure. It's still, can high school students ever meaningfully consent to sex with their teachers? Yeah, he probably was just referring to the article. I don't think that turned out being a big deal. I don't know. But now cracks are starting to appear in Blue's online reputation, especially with the right-wing circles she once courted. Really? Because the people who are bringing it up aren't necessarily right-wing, especially DeFango. DeFango's kind of just, he's just a guy that's out there. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't consider him right-wing at all. He's a cool dude, though. I think he's pretty funny, too. The controversy ignited on January 6th when she appeared on Tim Pool's video stream. During the show, Blue claimed to represent two anonymous survivors of Andrew Tate, the kickboxer turned king of toxic masculinity, accused with three other suspects of sexual exploitation and other heinous crimes. Tate has denied wrongdoing. Now, here's a part where I think they're full of shit. They're saying that some of Tate's most rabid fans, along with other right-wing users, began scrutinizing Blue's backstory. They posted clips from past media appearances to cast doubt on her trafficking claims and trolled her with screenshots from a racy music video dating back to 2016 that she participated in for World Star Hip Hop in her Eliza Knows phase. Now, I don't even know if there's a whole lot of, I didn't hear any people who have been supportive of Andrew Tate having anything to do with this. In fact, most people, when Andrew Tate was arrested, have had a wait and see kind of attitude. I don't know where these Tate's most rabid fans were starting to harass her. Maybe they were, but I certainly haven't seen it. I've seen everything about this woman over the last, after a month or so, and this wasn't it. Anyway, Blue's outfits in the video were provocative, but they didn't feature nudity or appear to be non-consensual and had been on YouTube for 7 years. Still, Twitter locked the accounts of several prominent right-wing personalities. Wait a minute. Is Brittany Ventney considered a right-wing personality? I'm really convinced. The Angels group may have convinced her she was trafficked if she wasn't. They have a goal to save all the strippers and porn stars. Their idea is that is all trafficking. Yeah, so good point there. Malefica, I want to say. That group is completely anti-sex work. There's a back and forth between sex work and trafficking. There's some people who support sex workers, so to speak. Some people consider all sex work trafficking. So if they convinced her that she'd been trafficked, that is part of the story too. Good point. Anyway, so still the Twitter locked the accounts of several prominent right-wing personalities who cover internet drama after they refused to delete their tweets about the music video. Blue, for her part, declared that the screenshots amounted to posting a non-consensual photo. Well, in a series of tweets on January 20th, she vowed to escalate to the full extent of the law. Twitter did an outstanding job, and they will be excluded from legal action. There won't be anyone involved spared. I take things all the way. I have no chill, Blue wrote. I'm a survivor advocate, and that doesn't stop with advocating for myself as a survivor. Whatever. Now, Ella Irwin, Twitter's head of trust and safety under Musk, who has previously praised Blue, defended the suspensions in a thread on Sunday. Quote, in the past 2 weeks, we've suspended multiple accounts and or restricted content, causing confusion for users. No, it didn't cause any confusion for users. We know exactly what was going on. Celebrating the launch, unfortunately, we can't answer questions or share details about specific users and account actions. But Blue's critics have not been placated, especially after contemporaneous clips of Blue as Eliza Knows celebrating the launch of the World Star video surface, suggesting that she participated in its creation consensually. Suggesting? How about proving? That's it. There's no doubt she participated in it consensually. She bragged about it. She had one video where she said it was her idea. The World Star people have a contract and said she was paid for it, and she bragged to her mom about it. She bragged about it constantly, and she loved it until now. They also dug up a 2021 interview in which Blue told right-wing pundit Michael Malice that she was trafficked on Twitter when a group of people used her pictures to create social media accounts. At that point, Blue had escaped her supposed actual traffickers years earlier, and the faked accounts were being used as some sort of ill-defined catfishing scheme, she said. Blue's critics have seized on that interview in which Blue described a sort of identity theft as trafficking, as proof that Blue uses an expansive definition of the terms. Well, she does. She expands it quite a bit. The expansive definition also didn't sit right with Maria Farmer, a victim of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. From Farmer's perspective, Blue's public posts seem to conflate what it means to be a sex trafficking victim with sex work. And that's what you're talking about, Malafika. This woman and her cohorts have effectively bastardized the words trafficking and survivor. We just want to use the word victim now, Farmer told the Daily Beast. Now, the other, because, sex work has a little more voluntary aspect to it. Trafficking is when maybe you're coerced into it, but you are very much coerced into it, like as in stolen and done some shit against your will. I don't know. It's a thin line between love and hate. Let's put it that way. Since emerging as an anti-trafficking activist, Blue has crossed paths with Epstein victims. In September 2020, she announced on Twitter that she had accepted a new position with Victims Refuse Silence, which at the time was the trafficking nonprofit of Virginia Giuffre, a high-profile victim of Epstein and Maxwell. By November of that year, Blue tweeted that she had stepped back into a part-time role with the organization. Corporate records in Florida from 2021 and 2022 list Blue as the group's secretary and director. Blue was once featured in videos on the group's website soliciting donations, asking people to get involved, and plugging her own Twitter handle as a resource for trafficking awareness. I firmly believe that anybody that's helping us in the survivor space should be very thoroughly vetted, because we have a lot of nefarious players that just want to be close to victims and survivors, she said in one video in which she claimed her former traffickers made a Twitter profile with her name, photo, and videos without her consent. Teresa Helm, a victim of Epstein and former director of Victim Refuse Silence, said she became friends with Blue and asked her to join the group before it dissolved. She's been almost like a freelancer in the world of advocacy, said Helm, who now works for National Center on Sexual Exploitation, which was once known as Morality in Media. Quote, she's nonstop on Twitter, which has been wonderful because it brought to light a lot of things that were happening that people weren't paying attention to otherwise, Helm continued, adding that Blue told her she's friends with Musk. She's been a pioneer in waking people the hell up. Asked about Blue's doubters, Helm said, I support her as a trafficking survivor entirely. Nothing in her past makes anything less valuable in terms of her advocacy work. It's not her job to prove anything to anybody. That's kind of where people go. Hello, Rabbit. Oh my God. That's funny. Oh my God. Anyway, that's a new name. Welcome, Rabbit. All right. Still, some survivors of Epstein's sex ring said they didn't trust Blue. One victim who asked not to be named told the Daily Beast that she shared concerns about Blue after researching her background and finding ties to right-wing figures and publications, such as Pizzagate promoter Mike Cernovich and conservative website The Blaze. Now, I don't know. Cernovich is quite the unusual entity, But the website The Blaze was so... Anyway, because, it's about politics, not about helping people. The ability to finally share my story and connect with others was freeing, but it's not as straightforward as simply going public, the Epstein victim said. Only a strong foundation of therapeutic recovery prepared me for the publicity generated by the salacious facts of this case. However, I was not prepared for my trauma to be co-opted for others' gain. And she's speaking of Bleu, obviously. Farmer, who tried to report Epstein and Maxwell to the feds in the 1990s, said she had raised concerns about Bleu's backstory on Twitter, only for Bleu to block her. Wow, Bleu blocks someone who is a victim of trafficking? Interesting. She clung to us all from out of nowhere, Farmer said of Epstein survivors. She had none of the attributes of an Epstein victim, yet insinuated otherwise. Bleu's critics has also seized on her reality television appearances in an attempt to poke holes in her trafficking story. Some, around 2002, for example, she appeared on the dating show Blind Date as a contestant so hostile that the show's editors kept a running on-screen count of her complaints. In 2012, at the height of what she would later describe as her second period of being sex trafficked deep in Chicago gang territory, Bleu appeared as an amateur model on Chicago-based The Steve Harvey Show, where Tyra Banks judged her performance. The suspensions have fueled speculation about Bleu's access to Twitter execs and complaints that Musk's supposed commitment to free speech only goes so far when his friends and allies are being embarrassed. David Karp, an associate professor of the School of Media and Public Affairs at George Washington University, told the Daily Beast that the Bleu controversy underscores how chaotic content moderation has become under Musk. So wait a minute. You're shifting to content moderation. Well, yes, I suppose that makes sense because that's what part of the story is here. You can say whatever you want on Twitter so long as nobody notices and you don't say mean things about anybody in Elon's circles, Karp told the Daily Beast. For her part, Bleu insisted on Twitter on Tuesday that she didn't ask Musk to suspend the accounts that tweeted the World Star video. Okay, hold up. She wouldn't have to ask Musk, okay? Ella, whatever the hell her name is, Ella, basically said that there was a formal complaint sent into Twitter. Okay, so obviously she didn't ask much. This is another lie by omission. She asked Twitter to intervene. She didn't ask Musk directly. Just again, she lies by omission. Okay, where is it? She points. Let's see. If I was going to ask a favor of Elon Musk, I would ask him to make humans a multiplanetary species, she wrote. Okay, she's stupid. Farmer told the Daily Beast that Bleu's support of Musk was a slap in the face to survivors. Okay, again, now they're making Musk a villain here not for the purposes of the censorship, but for something else here, obviously. She points to Musk's reported visit to Epstein's Manhattan mansion and Maxwell's infamous photo with Musk at a 2014 Vanity Fair Oscar party. Elon Musk needs to pull out a little Shakespeare and study it. Thou doth protest too much, she said, adding that she believes it's almost like he's hired this woman to cover for himself. Anyone who's even remotely affiliated with Jeffrey Epstein is odious at this stage, she added. In response to some of Bleu's pro-Musk tweets, multiple users have replied with the snapshot of Maxwell and Musk, with one writing, "Thank you, Elon Musk," shown here with convicted child sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell, for looking out for the children. For his part, Musk has claimed he was photobombed. Bleu has occasionally raised money online related to her anti-trafficking efforts. In 2020, she raised $1,625 for a vacation. Wait a minute. Okay, those two sentences probably shouldn't go together, right? Bleu has occasionally raised money online related to her sex anti-trafficking efforts. In 2020, she raised $1,625 for a vacation. Writing that normally I serve survivors of human trafficking. My standard caseload is 20 survivors at a time. During this season, I took on an extra 61 survivors vying online advocacy. Complete bullshit. Nobody takes on that many cases. It's if you're actually doing it for a living. Now, who knows what she means by that? She have 61 new followers on Twitter that she talks to. I don't know. She raised another $2,205 the following year to attend a Libertarian Freedom Fest conference. Bleu has also indicated that she opened a safe house of her own for trafficking victims. Where? And where's the LLC or the nonprofit organization that pays for that? I'm curious because no one's been able to find any tax filings. Bleu also indicated that she's opened that. Okay, it said that in March 2020, she tweeted that she opened the facility called the Humanity House. It's unclear whether the facility is currently in operation. It's unclear whether it even exists. Bleu's latest post, which once attracted praise, are now rife with trolls. Oh, trolls, they say. One person created an account in her name whose main photo features Bleu bent over alongside the caption, "Help, I'm being trafficked." Another user remade the Steve Buscemi fellow kids meme with Bleu's face and the words, "Hello, fellow survivors of human trafficking." There's definitely, and so now, listen, there's definitely a lot of misogyny and right-wing trolls. An ex-boyfriend of Bleu's told the Daily Beast, "I don't think she should have to be dealing with any of that." No, really? And right-wing trolls, because she affiliated with mostly people on the right. Mostly people on the right are the ones who helped her grow her platform. So I'm curious, if those are the people you pissed off, who else is going to be writing about it? Anyway, now according to the Beau, who asked to remain anonymous, the two met in 2019 at an event for a presidential candidate, Andrew Yang. At the time, he says Bleu was working in elder care and living on her family farm. Wait a minute, is this a current Beau or a past boyfriend, an ex-boyfriend? Okay. I wonder if this is that dude. There's a guy on Twitter who is constantly in everyone's tweets about her and defending her. It's really weird if he thinks he's the Beau. The Beau. Bleu shared with him that she'd been trafficked in Los Angeles as a teenager. He had no reason to disbelieve her. It wasn't like she just randomly came up with like a trafficking story, he said, adding that when it comes to her personal life, she is definitely a very private person, despite how public she is. That's a contradiction. Even back then, however, Bleu told him she wanted to be famous. Oh, really? Couldn't tell. She mentioned how she would love to be on the Ben Shapiro podcast, the ex said, adding that she also envisioned starring on Joe Rogan's show. That was a joke that she had. I'm going to get on Joe Rogan before you. Bleu also joked about the famous men she dreamed of dating, with Musk among them. She once told me there's 3 people I would cheat on you with: Ben Shapiro, Elon Musk, and there might have been one other, he recalled. Oh my God. What? She Ben Shapiro, married to a doctor, he'd like to tell you, and married with kids and whatever. Ben Shapiro, why? She was dreaming of cheating on her boyfriend with Ben Shapiro? Oh my God. Anyway, the reason this is all funny to me now is because last month she was on Ben Shapiro's podcast. Her and Elon Musk are in communication with Elon Musk are in communication with each other, the ex told the Daily Beast. She definitely had aspirations of being somebody. Her aspirations are kind of going exactly how she wanted in a weird way. Well, she definitely wanted to be famous. That's the end of the article. And boy, oh boy, is her 15 minutes here right now. So anyway, it's funny though. And like I said, when I realized that the Daily Beast was going to do an article on this, I knew that there was going to be some political slant to it, although it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought. Now, one of the people writing on this is Will Summer, who I follow on Twitter, and he's definitely, your basic left-wing media person, but it's and look, so much of this is online. In fact, let's on Twitter right now, she's trending again under Eliza. And there's a couple things in here. Now the other big controversy right now though is she was in another they're just finding all kinds of places where she's been interviewed. And one, she was talking about how they're claiming that she's might be not a pedestrian, but when you say ophile instead of estrian. But I'm not buying that. Now because she was on a podcast talking about, where's that video? Hang on, let me see if I can find it first. I had it. I thought I had it set up here, but apparently I didn't. Let me find this clip because, Tree of Logic. Wait, Tree of Logic. Oh, there we go. Don't forget, Frank whatever provided receipts on how Eliza decided to lock her account 1 hour later after the Daily Beast released the article exposing everything. As I type this, her account is still locked. Eliza, Shane, and Tim are in damage control mode, but it's too late. So this is Tree of Logic has been following this very closely. But the thing about and one more thing. Shane Cashman is very biased when it comes to Eliza Bleu. They are good friends, and the way she kept love bombing him during the Timcast proved to me that this so-called investigation piece was going to be a nothing burger. Okay, that's not the part I'm talking about. She was in an interview where she's talking with somebody, and they're talking about the age of consent, and she was saying that, there's a whole issue. Here it is, right here. Here it is. Here, let's find. There it is. I found it. This is the clip that people are talking about, right here. And then I gotta close this up in a second.
That the community and the child, if the child so desires to have intercourse with an adult, the parents, caregivers, and anyone that's, it's just what I just said. That would be up to if the child has desire, and if the community also decides that the person
she's
that
talking about community
with
standards
is not using
for
force,
age
fraud,
of
coercion,
consent.
manipulation.
Why don't you have a seat there and get comfortable from that?
Okay, so that's obviously a meme adding that in. But so she's on this interview, and I wish I could find it. I'd taken a chance by scrolling there. With this podcast talking about age of consent, and that clip came out. So now people are accusing her of being into kids, which I'll find it, maybe show it another time. But because I'm out of time today. Look, this is a story that's not going to end real soon. You're probably going to hear a lot about it, but I'm going to probably not talk about it much in the next week unless there's some really major development. But I'm leaving open these links to the trending topics. One Eliza Daily Beast. I got links to the Daily Beast article, to her video vixen playlist on YouTube that she put out there herself. And if you want to browse through it, I'm sure you're probably tired of hearing it as much as I am. So I'm going to probably lighten up on that topic. But real quick, oh, wait a minute. I didn't want to do that. What the hell did I just do? I was going into my notifications here. Just a couple more thank yous to Jimmy Das Hotep, Mr. Scott, and Renee Mayette, and Mr. Scott retweeting the retweets. Okay, thank you for tweeting out the show. Anyway, guys, tomorrow's Friday. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. Probably just have some regular news, get caught up in stuff I missed today, and any breaking stuff. And if you can be so kind, do me a favor. Hit the like button if you haven't already done it. Looks like most of you already have. Also, share the stream. Put a comment in the comment section if you're watching on a replay. You can support the channel, pdognight.live, Venmo, Cash App, YouTube, Super Chats. That information's all in the description down below. And again, 1 week from tomorrow, we're having the 1,000 episode celebration. The episode itself, the 1000th, is actually next Thursday, but the celebration is on Friday, where we'll be doing an all-day stream. Please tell your friends if you see the notifications. I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to do so. A lot of people have been privating their Twitter accounts because apparently it increases engagement somehow. So if you happen to see my account privated, that's why. Although those of you who follow me on Twitter, that won't affect you at all. But I'm going to try it for a couple of days just to make sure that stuff goes out. Then I'm going to unprivate it later. Anyway, so if you're wondering why that happens, that's why. That's it. I'm done. I got to go. Thank you for being here today. Hope you have a wonderful day. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. My name is P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Hey, this is P-Dog Knight, and thank you for watching today on the P-Dog Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.